Hi, I'm Kirby Sinclair. I'm founder of the Roasting Party. We are mostly a wholesale business, but have shops in London as well. We have been going 12 years. We also have a kind of a sister relationship with regards to a roastery in Australia, where I worked and kind of learned the craft in a really exciting time, actually, in Australia. And now it's really enjoyable, actually, because it's really booming here in the UK. I liken it to those early days in Australia when kind of roasters were forging their own identities, I'd say. Yeah.
I am Santiago Gamboa. I'm one of the co-founders of Hermanos Colombian Coffee Roasters. I am Colombian. We founded Hermanos back in 2018. So it's been 7 years. And it's been a journey. My brother and I, we're Colombians, and hence why we call Hermanos. Hermanos means brothers. And along with that, then we founded the company.
And a clean sweep of London Coffee Festival Awards last year. Yeah. I mean, this was brilliant, right? Clearly have loads of support from your customer base.
Yes. That was obviously, it was very humbling. We felt very, humble when we got the two awards. We just couldn't believe it.
No, I was super chuffy, guys. I mean, you came in force, and it was a really nice announcement. And, like the vibe to the acceptance and stuff was really brilliant. It was great to see. Yeah.
We've been trying to be very true to our values, but also have a very community-based coffee shops where we obviously can. We got a few neighborhoods, coffee shops in some neighborhoods, and we're trying to create that, customer base and obviously being true to our values. And that is customers. They're very loyal, and they, when they really see that you're working hard, true to your values, providing quality, and that you're providing with a great service, they really support you. They really are with you. I guess it's the same with you, with your customers, right?
Yeah, I think like for us, yeah, we try and create the same kind of community aspect to us. And I think our biggest one is that we're specialty, but we want to be accessible. And I think probably you're the same, actually.
Accessible and probably not arrogant, because sometimes people feel that I have a specialty could come across as arrogant because, oh yeah, it's too, too much and I don't know much about it. I don't know. That's what I get sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bad rap, and yeah, I think people take an ideal from somewhere else, obviously not here.
Yeah,
and think that that's the way forward. And I think kind of stems from probably like Nordic countries, or I even think my home country is guilty of this as well. So
you guys are rocking it.
Yeah, but look, I mean, I think this is something someone quite don't understand, is that actually like it's really the customer base that lead like the innovation and like the culture of like going out. And I think the other advantage is that we start so much earlier, right? I mean, like before I came to the UK, the last cafe I was at, we were opening at like 4:45 in the morning, right? You know what I mean? Like, and we were busy 5:30, like, let's pump, right?
Yeah.
And that just would never happen here, right? I mean, 7 is like as early as it gets, really.
Yeah. 4:45. Oh God, that was early. Yeah. When
we were kind of a distance from the city. Your tradey mentality, right? They want to get to work early, but they still want actually like really good coffee.
And why London?
Why London?
Well, why the UK?
I can only blame my wife on this one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I met her. She was traveling in Australia, and so I followed her here. But my business partner, who has the Little Marionette in Australia, so we're a decent sized roastery in Australia as well, and we always had this thought that we would do something overseas. So it was kind of an easy kind of move forward to kind of.
And what was that actually make you okay? Let's do it, because you always, we entrepreneurs, we always are like, we want to do something. I want to do something, but there is always something that holds you back, right? Obviously, jumping into something and not being able to get, obviously, the regular income to support yourself, going into something unknown. But what is it that actually push you to actually jump into the waters?
Yeah. Naivety, I guess. Again, like Australia kind of shaped loads of things. I mean, my previous life, I wasn't working for someone either. I played squash. That was what I was trying to pursue. I didn't really have a boss or a traditional job or income, for that matter. It was kind of down to a performance, I guess, if I had any money, right? Which I didn't. So, it was an easy, to struggle like an early entrepreneur actually wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me too much.
Okay.
We obviously we'd seen the success in Australia, but I think the UK is tough, right, for entrepreneurs. It's not easy to even get an electricity account or a bank account or a phone or like rent a property. Actually, it's definitely not as supportive as Australia.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Landlords want bigger people. They want personal guarantees.
I don't know. I don't know how to compare with other countries, because obviously I've only done, setting up our business here in the UK. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough because obviously there's a lot of competition here. Customers got the options to go anywhere, and there's some good alternatives out there. Although when we started in the specialty, probably you started 12 years ago, right? Obviously the specialty coffee world, or the coffee wasn't that well known.
I mean, I even started outside of London as well. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and it's not easy to start make yourself visible, amongst all the big ones out there. But I think, as I said earlier, you get a lot of customers who want something different, and they really want great customer service, but also obviously quality, and they really appreciate that.
yeah, it definitely moves forward. I mean, I think where I started, right, like I probably started with instant coffee and trying to, whip some sugar into it. I mean, and I think people always want something better. And I think this is why, even in the bad times, coffee will kind of prosper still, right?
Yes.
Because it is an affordable luxury, really. Yes. And so, like everyone wants a nicer car or a nicer house or whatever, it is something that they can really enjoy. Yeah.
And they even want to, I think we've noticed that even on a very fast-paced coffee shop, like we have coffee shop in Victoria Station or King's Cross, even that, those customers, I mean, they keep coming back, but that the contact with the customer is very fast. They want that recognition. Oh, hi, Tom. Oh, yeah, good morning. Yeah, I've got your usual ready. And they love that. They enjoy that. They really enjoy that. And they're like, really want to have a great cup of coffee, at the beginning of the day or my commute to work.
Yeah.
We see that a lot. And you have that loyalty from those customers, even in those very fast-paced places that we have. I mean, how has it been for you guys in terms of after COVID? I mean, during COVID, and then after that, what was the main challenge for you guys?
Potentially it was a slight advantage that we weren't in London, so we weren't a London roaster. Yeah. And so then when people were, and we're on the belt, right?
Yeah.
M3 up, right?
Okay.
So everyone was at home. Yeah.
Oh, that was perfect for you.
Yeah. So where we lost, we gained, I would say, like new customers, new people looking for staff. The customers we did have in Hampshire and Surrey, etc., got busier. So it was like quite a nice balance.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, because obviously people wanted to stay home or nearby, not coming to the offices. So then for you it was perfect.
Yeah. Our main shop which is in Sloane Square.
That was probably dead.
Yeah.
That location.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pavilion Road is, it's such a great street to be on, and think like there was an egg shortage, but like at least you could get eggs. It was kind of more than that. Like, people were kind of stuck in their homes, kind of in that area, right? And we got rid of seating upstairs, and became this kind of like takeaway conglomerate, right? And actually, like really, it didn't save us because we had this like wholesale bit to us, but we were able to really kind of bump up the numbers and kind of continued that on post-COVID. We were lucky with location. We had an in and an outdoor, kind of like intensifies the experience a little bit as well. Like, and fortunately it's carried on. Like, people still feel like, oh yeah, I've only got like 1 or 2 minutes because of the line. They kind of panic buy a little bit.
I know, yeah.
And then they move on, and I feel like it's a really nice experience, and I hear the same about your stores as well. So
yeah, I mean, it was great, especially the shops that we have in the neighborhoods. I mean, we got real great benefit because people, as you said, they were home and they weren't commuting. So then they were actually working from home, coming first thing in the morning for the coffee, mid-morning for the other coffee, and then, after lunch for another coffee. So you had
everyone in your home all day, right? Yeah.
Exactly, and it was great. But then the shops that we had in stations, I mean, Victoria was dead, and I think the hardest thing was when we start reopening the shops. What the landlords were like, okay, once you open, they start charging you rent, and once you open, you need to start obviously paying, get people off furlough, and start paying more wages and all that. And you were opening doors, and no one was coming.
Yeah.
So then you're like, I'm paying rent, I'm paying more wages, I'm paying all this, and I'm not making any money. It was difficult.
Yeah. You have to deal with lots of landlords.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a couple.
I mean, we managed to move some locations where we thought, okay, tourists are not coming back for a long time in this location. We had one by Bethnal Green Road, by Shoreditch, a very touristic part of that area, and Brick Lane. Anyway, and we went to see, okay, shall we open? There was no one around, so we moved that one to another location, and it was fantastic. So we moved, and then we opened also barns, neighborhoods, and that helped us because those sites actually helped us to sustain the ones that weren't making any money, like the stations. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was probably the hardest time for us, but the neighborhood one, they were like, we were booming in those shops. So it was helping a lot being in those locations, which was great for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because coming out of COVID, I think the most difficult thing for any business in the hospitality, it was like opening a brand new shop for the first time, but then you open and there are no customers around.
Start again, yeah.
It's like
Joyous,
a new
yeah.
beginning. Yeah. But
But having said that, I feel like you obviously come out the other side pretty well.
thanks to customers, they stay loyal.
Yeah.
And our online sales were pretty much very little, non-existent before COVID. If we had 5 orders a week, was a lot. Probably there were days when we didn't have any orders, or weeks without any orders. Then once COVID started, the people was, they were not coming to the offices. They started to order online, and that picked up an inflow of orders. It was just incredible. But it was funny because we had to send everyone on furlough, and only my brother and myself, we were working. I was roasting the coffee, going into the shop where we had the roaster. That was in by Aldgate East. That shop that we have there is called the Loon, in that building. And I was traveling there to roast the coffee, and then driving all the way. My brother lived there back then he lived, well, near Portsmouth, by Chichester. Meeting him halfway through, giving him the coffee, and he was basically doing the fulfillment from his garage. So, but it was funny. That was the funniest thing ever, because I had a car full of sacks of coffee, roasted coffee, and meeting my brother in an empty car park, Tesco's car park, 2 Colombians. My brother parking here, okay, passing the coffee, putting the coffee into his car, and then me driving one way. People are like, this looks a bit, yeah. So, but it was great. So he was doing the fulfillment from home, and I was roasting the coffee here in one of our shops. Guildford, we were meeting a car park in somewhere in Guildford, outside Guildford, and yeah, the online just kicked off. Since then, we obviously had to invest a lot of money in having a better website, and we built that from there, and we have a very strong online shop because of that, and we keep building on that. It's been great. It was great. Yeah, that helped us a lot.
And do you think, because how many locations do you have now?
10.
10, yeah. And do you think that that's been managed well, or growing too fast, too slow?
Look, you live and learn. Obviously, there are some places where at the beginning, when you obviously no one knows you, but then you want to open a shop, you end up opening anywhere where you are able to open your shop. And we made a few mistakes in opening some places that we thought,
Come on, you never get it right every time.
Exactly. But then we've been able to, at the beginning we started with short-term contracts, We didn't want to actually get ourselves tied up to, long-term contracts because we didn't know if it was going to work. And that was actually the best thing for us because then once we saw that the shop was a great location and a great find, we were doing well. So then we immediately start talking with the landlords to make it a long-term contract. But yeah, there were a few mistakes, a few things that we thought, okay, we shouldn't have done that. And you end up obviously losing money, paying deposits, doing a lot of things and doing fit outs. We were doing all the fit outs ourselves, but it still cost you, right? Yeah, obviously. But then that's why we slowed a little bit because we were going a bit too fast. And you end up seeing yourself, okay, I've got this many shops. But then it's slowed, shops are slowing down a little bit. I think we should have opened that one because then all our cash went there and now we haven't got any cash flow. I mean, the typical that happens when you get too eager to try to be in many places.
Yeah.
But then, yeah,
Well, it's easy to get excited as well, right? And spinning plates is addictive, right?
yeah,
Actually it is, I think, and
it's
the
good
downfall and also the the rise of many entrepreneurs on in any business, I would say. Yeah, so it's
I mean, it's good and you learn from those, well, I would say, mistakes or those decisions you made that probably you shouldn't have done back then. But I mean, it helped us to actually have a better, way of seeing the business, but also, making better decisions. I think if you don't learn from your mistakes, so then
it's one to make them, but you don't make them twice. Yeah,
exactly, and that costs you money. At the end of the day, you're not you're playing with your money, right? Because when you are a small business, a founder, kid entrepreneur, I mean, it is the money. It's not someone else's money. So, and that's why you need to think about every single decision twice. So probably more than twice. I mean,
no.
how many shops you got now?
So we just have two.
You do have two.
Yeah. So I have one near here in Moorgate, and then the Sloane Square one. Yeah. So
Okay.
although they're very busy and very do some big numbers, they are real showrooms for us as a wholesale. Like,
oh, great.
Yeah. So we're mostly wholesale.
Oh,
2/3 1/3. Yeah. So
you roast? Where do you roast your coffee?
roast in Winchester. Yeah.
Oh.
In the true capital of the UK. Yeah. No. Yeah. So yes, we've always been there as well. When I first moved to the UK, my wife was going to university in Southampton, and so I, Winchester it is actually a really lovely city. Yeah, I think a little bit sheltered for my children, but
Any plans? Any exciting developments or shop openings? Or you just probably expanding more the wholesale and leaving the shops?
Look, I started in shops. I mean, coffee for me was the culture of Oz, and I got into coffee as a barista. I don't know about you, and it was applied skill to me, and building my own kind of following, and working for different roasters in Australia, and I really enjoyed that bit of it. Like shop design really excites me and things like that. But I tend to help new clients or existing clients that we provide wholesale to. Like I get that buzz from that, really. Yeah. That is a big hand holding along the whole way for us as a company is really important to the racing party. Like we were just saying, I hate people kind of, who are getting into the game like wasting money. And I had someone mentored me, would I have made better decisions that didn't cost me loads of money before? I think owning a shop can be really glamorous, right? Well, not glamorous, but like, it's really exciting and there's lots of, but unfortunately there's a lot of like, strict structure behind the scenes that needs to be,
Yeah. I mean, it helps.
and no one really tells you that, right?
No one.
They're like, oh, just get the fit out done and open, right? So no, that's not the whole game, is it? So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it helps a lot that obviously you've basically done the whole. I mean, you were working as a barista, and then you basically worked in every single step of the way of different positions to get to know how a business like what you have now how operates, and it gives you some insights, right? And that helps a lot. Obviously, it's not gonna make you not to make the mistakes that we make or make the wrong decisions, because we all do. But at the end of the day, having that previous experience and knowledge, that's what we see that actually helped us a lot for us, because we've been working in the industry for 24 years. Well, I mean, since I've been in London for the past 24 years, came here to study university. But then I was doing part-time working, started working in a kitchen, cleaning dishes and all that, doing part-time jobs. And then moving all the way up, then working behind the counter in the shop, and then all that. And all that gives you a better understanding of, the operations and behind the scenes. Then I became a manager of a shop, and then area manager, regional manager, and all that. And we were doing shop openings for other people. I mean, for other businesses. We were in the company I was working for. I was the openings manager for that shop. My brother was operations director for a company, but then he went all the way up. So he gave us a deal of understanding all that. And when we started looking for our own sites, and when we started opening our own sites, well, we have that understanding, and helps us to make more informed decisions, although it doesn't prevent you from sometimes getting it wrong. But that gives you.
I mean, I do think like this is interesting. Actually, it's really nice to hear that from you. I think I look at a lot of people who feel like they see busy cafes and
Well, when I open one.
yeah,
Oh, that must be easy.
yeah,
That must be easy.
and it's a bit like being an actor as well. Like I think there is this fallacy that like you came from nowhere and like you're just new to the industry and like it just successfully happens. It's like
No one.
well, no one I know in this industry who is doing well.
Yeah.
It is a real progression, and
Yeah.
I always feel like there's something. Oh, have you ever worked in a cafe? Yeah, you want to open one, and they're like, oh no, I'll just learn on the job, right? It's like no, just work a busy Saturday somewhere first before you decide to open a cafe. May not be for you, Not to say it hasn't happened, but usually
Very right.
there is this. I wish there would be, because I do think we are in an industry where lots of money is wasted, right? From deposits to, choosing wrong locations to, and I do think.
Doing the wrong fit out, or
Yeah.
buying the wrong equipment.
And I do think because there is no barrier to entry, right? There isn't it? You just have to have the money, right? And you can open, right? And I wish there was some kind of like barrier, like being a chartered accountant. You couldn't start an accountancy firm without being chartered, right? I'm not saying that there needs to be some kind of qualification, but almost there needs to be some barrier, I think, and because then hospitality would be able to rise, and I think they would have more of a voice in things that are going on today, right? Where like minimum wages, not to say that that's a bad thing, but what's the knock-on effect to like everyone's wages and
Yeah, it's not
VAT on a business, and like all these things that are creeping in that almost it sees as like, oh yeah, of course they've got the money, it's just from nowhere, right? And actually, it's just not making it work at the moment.
That's true. And the thing is that, as you said, the people see your coffee shop, it's busy, booming, and you're like, oh, this is great. Oh, this might be easy. I've got a lot of people come to me and say, oh, I want to open a coffee shop, and they work in, I don't know, in something completely different behind the desk and never done that. I know you see people, obviously, quitting the jobs and doing that, great. But then thing is that, and as you said, not everyone makes it. The ones who actually succeed, because they actually have had, some previous, experience and doing actually all the dirty work in the past. I mean, I'm not saying the ones who haven't done it won't succeed, but it's just that makes you more resilient, because I've seen people starting a coffee shop and the first time, I need to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, I used to be in the shop at 5 o'clock in the morning, opening the shop, being the only staff member. I mean, after a few months, I hired a second person. But that person I hired, I was like, am I going to be able to pay the wages? I wasn't even paying myself. And I was like, and I was at 5 o'clock the other shop, opening the shop at 5:36 and finishing at 10 p.m., going home, emails, paperwork and invoices, placing orders, doing everything, going to bed at 2 a.m., getting up at 4, the same cycle. People who've never done that, they end up throwing the towel.
And they may be hard workers actually in their current job, right? Like, I've seen that happen too, right? But it is different.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
then
different.
this is not for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just physically, unless you haven't got money to pay someone to do that, and your shop, your coffee shop, your business is not even, making money to pay yourself. I'm not going to hire someone to do it for me, and because I've done it before, I know I can do it. And I can see I've got a vision. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's not going to happen tomorrow that I'm going to go through that tunnel. I just need to be resilient. And I think that experience that we're talking about is what makes you, both entrepreneurs, stronger and more resilient.
I think, yeah. I mean, the key to success really.
It's not an easy part. It's not, yeah.
No, and I think, we should, I think as an industry, celebrate this a bit more. Actually, no, these guys with people who have, started successful things. Like, where did they start really? And
They don't come out of the blue.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's like actors, you see this like breakthrough actor. Oh no, hang on, they've been like living and breathing like actors since they were like 4 or 5 years old, right? And actually, oh, hang on a second, they're not just breakthrough, right? And that happened to be at that particular time. But
I agree.
there's a foundation, I would say. So, did you start roasting with the first shop, or did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny. I started roasting in my house, in my lounge.
Like, I mean, I think this is brilliant, right? Like, I had this whole other view that you guys have got like 10 stores, like,
Oh God!
almost.
I started. We bought a kilo roaster,
Yeah.
a very little kilo roaster, and we put in the lounge in the house, and from that we created a website. Adnan we didn't have money to pay for a designer or anything. Adnan got skills for that, and he created a website. And we thought, okay, we started roasting. I knew how to roast. I've learned in Colombia. I worked in the company I was working for there as a country manager. I had to do a lot of work in coffee and looking for great coffees for that company. So then I learned a lot in terms of sourcing, but also roasting. And I did my roasting courses there back then. And also Adnan learned a lot about roasting. He was in Colombia as well for a while. But then we bought that little roaster with a credit card because we didn't have money. and yeah, we put a roaster in our lounge, set up the website, and we thought, okay, we're gonna have a lot of orders. 0 orders. No one knows you. I mean, and the online world is bigger than the actual high street.
Yeah.
Because there's millions of companies out there selling products from all over the world. And we started roasting there, but then I started selling locally to friends.
So you started as a roaster first, really?
Yeah, I exactly, having the roaster at home. Actually, then when we first managed to get the first pop-up shop, which we still have that shop at the moment now in Walthamstow, in Blackhorse Road. That shop was actually, I was living across the road, and I saw that there was a community center there, and I saw that space empty, and I went and asked, can I open a coffee shop here? And they were like, okay, you can open here for a couple of weeks. And I opened there like in a community area, and I put the roaster there, and I was roasting there. Obviously, before I was roasting at home. Now, and my dog was eating the beans that were there falling on the floor.
Hey, this is brilliant now. Yeah.
Yes, it was incredible. And then obviously I was in that little coffee shop, in that community space, roasting the coffee and serving the customers. I was the only employee because obviously we couldn't pay for a barista. And I was doing that for a couple of months. Sort of a couple of months. And then we were able, I managed to get a site in Ulster Station, That was what actually where everything kicked off. And I managed to get that side
I think that side had been cycled around a few different other operators, right?
because that's what that
You were the ones that made it work, right?
yeah, and exactly. And we went there. We managed to get a temporary contract for a couple of weeks in Old Street Station. Little tent. Just as soon as you came out of the barriers, there were like a little tent inside the station in that tunnel. We opened there for a couple of weeks, and after I was roasting in the station. And it was incredible because then I was roasting and serving customers. Then I was able to hire someone to help me out in the station. So I had one barista and myself. And whilst I was roasting, the smoke, the fumes of the roaster, when you see the trains coming into a station that you feel that it sucks all the air into the tunnels, it was getting all the fumes inside the station. And people were saying, customers were saying, as soon as the doors of the trains opens, we just get the smell of roasted coffee. And we had queues, endless queues in the station. It was incredible.
I think a great time for East London coffee then.
Yeah.
The grind were really pumping as that.
They were just upstairs. They were just upstairs.
When they were a real, coffee company, actually, they were really like that. I think that site is pretty envious.
Yeah. And it was incredible for us. It was, and when we moved into Old Street Station, for those 2 weeks initially, we paid the deposit and the first 2 weeks of rent, and we didn't have any money. We didn't have any money left. Paid the deposit, paid the rent, and we were like, okay, let's hope that it goes well, so that we can make the money to pay for the next month. And the queues and all that, obviously, and then they didn't want us to leave. They said, but you cannot stay in that kiosk. You need to move into a more permanent unit in one of the tunnels of that station, in one of the alleyways. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be as busy as the other one because we were just right outside in front of the barriers. But then we moved there and I was wrong. We had very long queues. It was super busy. So then that actually being there helped us to actually be able to get the money that we needed to grow. It was incredible. But it was just me at the beginning. Then I was able to hire someone. And then a bigger team.
Yeah.
It's
Look, I think we all as founders speak fondly of these days when you don't have any money and you really want to, you just make it happen no matter what, and I think they're really in it. Actually, I see these founders who get like big investment first, and I think it muddies the water a little bit. Yeah,
and I think because when you got endless resources, you don't see priorities, and you don't see where you should actually focus on that would actually make your business successful or try to to brings you more money. When you got no money, when you go very little, you try to actually think more than twice, 3, 4 times. Is this actually going to, make me have more sales or bring more money? And you're more careful because that's all you have. And that's how we did. We were opening some shops, as I said. Well, there was a clear example. We opened Old Street Station, pay rent, deposit, and we had no money left. But it worked. It paid off. And since then, we haven't looked back.
Yeah. No, you definitely haven't. Yeah, you're very, very quick rising, which is great.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, I believe you just use Colombian coffee exclusively. Is that right?
Yeah. We are Colombians.
Yeah.
And obviously, hence the name of the company, Hermanos, Colombian Coffee Roasters. Well, brothers. That's why Hermanos, Colombian Coffee Roasters. We thought that there was, an opportunity in the market here because we didn't see a coffee shop or roastery that was actually focusing only on Colombian coffee. There are a lot of coffee shops selling Colombian coffee.
Hard not to, in a way, really.
Exactly, hard not to. Colombian coffee is great coffee, but there are other good coffees from other countries, but Colombian coffee is well known for its quality. But then we thought Colombia has a huge, it's a very diverse country in terms of the land, the mountains. We have pretty much in most of our regions, apart from the Amazon, because we have also in Colombia, we have part of the Amazon. Apart from the Amazon and that north part of the Amazon, anywhere else in the country, pretty much you can get coffee from.
Well, I mean, the other great thing about Colombia now is that, you know, so many more varietals are grown there. The fermentation processes are like state of the art, you know. So, you know, actually, like Colombia as one region can give you, I think, can offer you everything that you want.
I mean,
And coffee, right?
yeah,
You can get super fruity that you think you would only get from like Africans, you know, through to, you know, your super chocolate and stuff. You know, like I think quite exciting time.
and that's what we
Coffee.
thought to do.
The diversity there,
Yeah.
as well.
It is so huge and so diverse, and all the different regions you can get so many different, and the thousands of farmers, thousands, and so many different soils, climates in different regions that you get. As you said, coffee is very nutty, chocolatey, pepper for espressos, but also you get very fruity, floral coffees.
From, you know, blenders through to, you know, 9 buses, right, as well, yeah.
Then we thought, let's actually play to that, since we are Colombians, and we are roasting coffee from our own country, and let's showcase all that diversity that Colombia has got to offer, and from every single corner of the country, and that's what we've been doing, and actually it's paying off because people recognize, oh yeah, you do great Colombian coffee. You do only coffee, and we have a huge range of coffees, about 18 different type of coffees that people can choose from, because we want to try to showcase as much as we can from the entire country, and we keep changing our offering every 4 months. There are a few that always stay people's favorites, but then we keep changing that every 4 months because we want to keep on showing what else is there, and there is a huge offering in Colombia.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're quite similar in this kind of, you know, viewpoint, in that it's quite important to us to be distinctively different, I think, from other roasters. You know, I definitely get the feel from your business that you have this, you know, sense of pride with regards to the Colombian nature to your like business. Being Colombian, obviously, it's not what you rest on. You know, I think, you know, I never see that, you know, Aussie style, like, you know, like it does for some, say, people who do stuff like from Australia, right? This self-identity of like who you are and the values of being Colombian and wanting to be Colombian, you know, like,
we like
it isn't what you like are like, you know, staking or grounding, you know,
Yeah.
it's just important to you, which is, you know, I quite like this.
For us, it's important to showcase, obviously, our culture, the craft of all our coffees, that we work directly with every single farmer that we get coffee from. I mean, and we spend a lot of time. I'm in Colombia probably every 2 months, and to spend a good deal there, going across the country, getting to know more farmers, looking for those hidden gems, and also visiting the existing ones we have. And then also Victor, Adnan, and myself, you know, we all go, you know, as a team twice a year, you know, and see and meet all those farmers and try to meet them in, you know, in their own environment. But that's what we're trying to do with them, is create that connection, that real true affinity that we have with them, you know, by having getting to know them, you know, directly. So we actually, the coffees, if you see some of our coffees, the majority of the coffees that we have, they're named after the grandmother, they're named after the wife, they're named after the daughter, or the son, or the actual farmer, because the names that we put, you know, in the coffees is, you know, actually has a real connection with that farmer, and sometimes they get to decide the name of the coffee and how we're gonna call the coffee. We love having that deep connection with all our farmers. Yeah. So trying to prove that, you know, even more that, we Colombians, and we want to show that here that we have that real connection with all our farmers. Yeah. It's not easy. At the same time, it requires a lot of time and money, but we want to be true to our values in that sense. Yeah. And helping all those farmers as well.
Yeah. And do you help with like projects in those countries as well? Or?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. There are farmers that we actually buy the entire production, and we and by doing so we help them. I mean, all the police, yeah, we pay them a fair price for their coffees to make sure that they can reinvest in, in the farms. There is this farmer, we buy the entire production every year, and since we started working with them, they were able to buy a little track, so that now the farmer's uncle and his dad, they don't need to carry the sacks, and the bags from A to B. So now they can put the coffee in the track. Now they having better processing facilities, so then they can improve in the quality. But also there's a group of women back there in Colombia project that we also trying to help, and to help them to actually have better facilities so they can process the coffee in better conditions so that they can improve the quality. Yeah.
So I've never really spoken to someone so close to that chain before, and I always feel like you talk about like it being really directly with the farmer. Yeah, how much influence do you have on the mill?
On
the mills?
We do have a lot.
Yeah,
we do have a lot.
Because this seems to be like the breakdown chain, really, where maybe farmers could do better.
Yeah,
with better relationships with the mills.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is that with that, those relationships allow us to speak to the farmer and trying to even influence the way how they process the coffee, because some of them we buy pretty much the entire production, and that's what we do with some of them. We tell them, you can improve. Shall we improve in this? Could you probably extend the fermentation process? Can you let's try and experiment with, leaving those cherries a little bit longer if you're doing a natural process, doing a different fermentation process before. So we are able to change and to get exactly what we want for our customers. But at the same time, because also different milling stations, some of them do not take the care that they should in the selecting process of the coffee. So then you get uneven beans, you get bad beans. So then
you feel it's better to get that right at farm as opposed to let mills kind of decide that?
Well, we work. It is a whole change, right? It is a whole chain of events. If the farmer doesn't do it properly, so then you're gonna end up having more, let's say, bad quality coffees at the milling station. So then the likelihood that if the sorting in the milling station is not done properly, so then you're gonna end up having more, let's say, bad beans in there. But then if the process is done correctly at a farm level, so then what happens is that the milling is gonna be probably less intense. And although the millings that we choose along with the farmer where the coffee gets milled are milling that the selection of the coffee is very, very accurate. So then obviously we're working together with the farmer, and at the same time we decide with the farmer where that coffee is sent to, or what milling stations. And because then at the end of the day, if we don't do that, we end up having a product here that is not going to be up to the quality that the customers expect, or even wholesale customers, that they get volumes and larger quantities, and they open the bags and they're like, this is full of Quakers, this is full of bad beans. So yeah, because then if you work with the farmer from origin, and we're able to do so because of the relation we have with them, so then we're able to guarantee better quality for our customers.
And I guess the big question is, how much advantage being Colombian does that help that? I'm not sure I could, even with loads of volume, I'm not sure I could achieve, maybe that.
It helps.
And I think this is a good thing as well. Like, why do I, from, a completely different country, probably don't speak, very good language, be able to come and say to these people, oh, this is what you should be doing?
It helps because of the language. Obviously, there is no barrier in the language. I mean, we're Colombians, so we know our slang. I mean, when you're talking to farmers, they, obviously they speak the language of the countryside, and we know that. So then, but not just that, we are able to create that deeper relationship, connection, and the farmer sees you as a partner, right? Not just like a transaction. because we go and we obviously have lunch with the families, but then we also are able to interact and ask them, you know, about the problems and the issues they have.
Yeah, and I mean, look, and there's a general sincerity to that as well, right? Like,
And they know, and they can see that if they do well, we do well. I.e., if they get a great harvest and process that coffee great and perfectly, or well, the better they can, so then we get better results here, with our customers.
coffee is a commodity. However, as a roaster, it's not a commodity, actually. It's, it's your livelihood. It's, you feel a deep satisfaction from production of that,
Definitely.
from that product. And, so I think it's unfair to like have this kind of like, oh, it's just a commodity, any coffee, you can roast it however. But that's just not the case, right?
It's hard work.
There's such meticulous detail goes into why you choose that coffee and why you believe that it's the best for your blend or best for your customer or any of those reasons. For it to be considered a commodity, I think is hard for me to always understand. Yeah,
That's true. And you see how farmers, how hard they work in, getting good coffee out there, starting from the, physical cherry picking, which is all manual from many of the countries, unless you probably in Brazil, that is not, is mechanical, but it's very, very hard labor, labor intense. And the hard work that you put into selecting good coffees that you want your customers to enjoy. And as you said, when you roast it, the pride that you feel, when I'm roasting this product, you want to do the best you can to roast it to perfection, because you want to be able to show that great coffee that you spend a lot of time searching, looking for, and selecting.
I mean, look, I'm a little bit jealous actually because you get to have this like relationship with like the fun, because often like great wine, say for instance, great wine, the grower is also the producer, right? So they have this like intention. They start with the start of the grape. So for instance, like they then like can interpret that over time all the way to when they produce that bottle of wine, and even though we have this particular nature about the coffees we choose and stuff like that, was it the intended profile that the farmer had? What I see it as is not, what a farmer has, I always find that very interesting, but actually it feels like, well, it sounds like, yeah, you almost kind of can contribute to that. Or know those, can speak to the farmer like, oh yeah, I want it to have this profile because that's what I think is best, and you're able to then like follow that right through to the end.
I mean, having that close relationship also is very time consuming as well, because I have to dedicate a lot of time to that. I mean, every day, to be perfectly honest, I mean, we work with so many farmers, but on a weekly basis, I'm chatting with all of them because we constantly are checking how things are going. If we are preparing the next container, how we doing with, how's the drying process going?
Yeah.
Or it's been raining too much there these days, and it's taking long. I mean, the last container we received, it was delayed 2 weeks because one of the farmers was actually having issues drying the coffee because it was raining too much, and I was like, look, we need to move that now. We have got no coffee. I mean,
the joys.
Yeah, so, but it is, it requires a lot of time, invest a lot of your time, but I love that. I mean, I'm primarily myself is the one who manages all those relationships with all the farmers, and I enjoy that. I really love talking to all of them. And sometimes we bring those farmers here so that they can see, and the reaction of the customers, when they try their coffees, and sometimes they go in tears and they're like, I mean, I never thought my coffee will be sold, in London, and the coffee being named after my mother or after my grandmother or after my wife or after myself, because that's what we do. And they love it because they are very small farmers we work with. So, and they really, really appreciate that. So and we enjoy that. And also for our customers to come and talk to them and see, is it real? Is it true? The relationship you guys have? Or what challenges are you having? Are you actually getting a fair price, fair pay? And those things that the people see the transparency. Yeah, and we love that. We love that. Yeah, I feel very proud and very humble and honored that we are able to have that direct relationship with them. And build those relations is for us is very important. Yeah. Man, it's great. You can come with us to one of our visits, to one of our. I mean that's a great joint idea, boy. Yeah, you'll get to see, how obviously, our farmers. I'm sure you've been to other farms and that, but obviously, you'll get to enjoy it and see.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've never been to any Colombian farms before, but yeah, so yeah, look, I am trying to kind of get out there next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you ever want to go and let us know, and we can probably you can probably join us, or I'll give you some tips and where to go, and yeah, we do that a lot with customers. Wow, customers. Oh, I'm planning to go to Colombia. Can I stay in one of the farmers' farm? And we've done that, and we put them in touch with the farmer. Customers, they want to enjoy that and see that. We had a customer, well, this was an influencer. She loved our coffee and our brand, and she went did a tour around Colombia, Latin America. She spent a few weeks in Colombia, and we put her in touch with some of our farmers. She stayed there and she took a picture. Oh, I'm in the farm where I enjoy this coffee in London, and I'm in the farm. It's amazing. So yeah, of course we.
And would you open shops in Colombia or
In the future,
Yeah.
in the future,
you think there's still some more growth here for you?
we are entering a very exciting time. We got a growth plan for the next coming years. We are going to continue to open our own coffee shops, but we are starting franchising.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
We've been working on that for the past 10 months with professional consultants in helping us to develop.
Franchise is easy, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it took us a year to get ready for that. Just working and focusing only on that. I mean, in terms of getting the business, the processes, and all the absolutely all the manuals and everything ready for that. We have had a lot of people and groups asking if we want to franchise, and we had a lot of demand for that. And so then we started doing that process, as I said, 10 months ago. And now we are ready, and we are in the process of doing so. So we will be opening some shops, Middle East, Europe, the Boo,
Yeah.
and then going to Colombia as well.
Yeah.
With but then at the same time we will be also doing our own openings, i.e. our own shops. We'll be doing some in those parts of the world. So yeah, very exciting times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's always tough to decide where you're going to go, right? But you can't stand still, I think. That's the only thing you can't do, yeah, I'd say.
Exactly. Let's see.
Yeah, that's it. And the ice drinks movement, are you a fan?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Well, I don't know if you do. I mean, do you do cold brews, and do you do because we have a lot of very fruity, sweet, and floral coffees. Some of the coffees are fantastic for ice drinks, and we are actually we're looking into also develop a cold brew in a can. So, but at the moment, the cold brew that we provide in our shops is actually we make it every day in our shops.
We're the same. I think tricky. I mean, it's like anything commercially, kind of, on a larger scale. To try and replicate what you have now is incredibly difficult.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many other factors that go into it.
But you need to keep innovating, though. I mean, customers, and we're trying to do so. These are huge, obviously, trend now. Yeah, cold drinks, cold brew, matcha, all these things that are coming up, and new trends. And we're trying to obviously keep up with all that as well. Obviously, keeping true to what we do, great coffee, and try to be able to offer that to our customers. But yeah, cold drinks, we launched pots, and it's been a success for us. Our customers, we have a huge demand for them from our customers. They asked for that, and we were like, okay, we delivered them when we were able to, when we felt that it was right and that the product was right, and we went diverting from who we are and from our values. We are not delivering a product that is not within, true to our values or true to coffee, Hermanos. Yeah. I mean, you get that, and I think keep evolving, but keep providing customers with the different products or innovation is key without losing your authenticity.
This is the dance. It's like the rumba. Yeah.
A difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Great stuff.
Thanks for listening to the London Coffee Festival's Founder Stays On podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing these incredible stories from the people shaping the future of specialty coffee. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn for more behind-the-scenes content. See you on the next one.